Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It's Sunday night, and that can only mean one thing. This is Around the Pound. And for this month, I will be your host, Marcus Shadow. Joining me, of course, we have James Phoenix.
Hello.
And we have Chriz, a.k.a. the Mole.
Hello.
So, this month, we're going to be taking a look at the plethora of movie trailers that hit the YouTubes and the con circuits last month. And so today we're going to be taking a look at Tomorrowland.
At least 4 of them.
At least 4 of them. The other ones could be mentioned, you never know. But yes, specifically we're going to be discussing, 5 of them. We actually have 5 weekends in May.
We do, but I wasn't sure what we were going to do for the last one, if it was going to be another trailer, or if we were going to... Because we hadn't started on...
Tomorrowland is the last one. I added Tomorrowland to the list.
Oh, I thought it was today.
Yeah, I added it to the list and I made it today. Because the other 4 were on the list originally.
Okay, yeah. My bad. I couldn't remember. I remember we were discussing a 5th one, and we were thinking whether or not we should include Star Wars Rogue One, or whether or not we should include discussing which trailer we liked most. But Tomorrowland works as well. Awesome.
Yeah, that's the one we're looking at today, and it is the Disney movie based on the Disney attraction. And
coming soon, it will be based, and if it's anything like Pirates of the Caribbean, it will be based on an attraction that's based on the movie that was based on the attraction.
Well, if the trailer is any indication as to where this movie is going to go or what they're going to do with Tomorrowland, I could totally see that happening. But I look forward to seeing how they actually incorporate Tomorrowland into the movie, because you get glimpses, but it doesn't show the whole thing and how the attraction works into and stuff. But it does look awesome. Again, it's a Disney movie based on the Disney attraction, and it's starring George Clooney. So, it's George Clooney. So it's not that means immediately it's not going to be terrible.
Batman
saying that George Clooney. Yeah. But given who the fuck directed that, and given what came before that, are you really that surprised? I mean, this is Disney plus George Clooney. I don't expect it to be terrible. Whether it's good or not remains to be seen. I reserve that for when, when
it looks fun.
Out. Yeah, it actually looks really good. The effects look really good. From what I can tell, he's like this guy. It seems like they kind of took some inspirations from some stories people have written about Disney stuff, or from fanfics, or maybe even from Kingdom Keepers or whatever. Because it seems like he's this guy that knows about Tomorrowland, and he's been there, and he's got a way to get there. But there's this organization, or Disney Suits or whatever, the Disney MIB or whatever, that's trying to keep all that shit under wraps. Yeah, and so they come for him, and the girl that ends up with the little device that transports her between the two, I guess they're dimensions. I'm assuming Tomorrowland's like an alternate dimension. I don't know. The trailer doesn't really tell you, which is great, because that means there's actually stuff in the movie that's going to be a surprise, which I don't feel a lot of trailers do anymore. I feel a lot of trailers kind of spoil the movie for you too much.
Yeah, which I will say I only had 2 problems with this trailer.
Okay.
The first was Jim. Jim, you're still here. What is Tomorrowland in Disney? If I was correct.
Well, in both Disneyland and Disney World are divided into sections. There's Main Street USA, Frontierland, Adventureland, all kinds of things like this. Tomorrowland is the section of the park where there are rides and things based upon the future.
That's what I thought. Yeah. That was all I wanted to know. It's based on the future, and according to what Pew says, they constantly update it. So if they built it with flat screen TVs, they'll put in fat TVs. They'll put in flat screen, so it stays up to date.
Right. So it's the future from now.
Yeah. It's the future from now, and that was a problem I had with the trailer. The heart of Tomorrowland, from what I've seen and from what I've read and stuff like that, it's always about looking forward to the future of now. And already during this film, her time that looks like ours, there's already like androids and shit running around trying to grab her and all this, and I'm like, that looks too futuristic for now. So it looks like you've kind of made it the future of the future. I don't like that.
True.
And I'm half expecting an M. Night Shyamalan plot twist.
Mm-hmm. What, that she's the one that's in the future, she's the one that's in Tomorrowland, and he's from the past?
No, because based on how he said about you, which is my second problem, the obvious trailer line of, you asked for Tomorrowland, you've got it. It's like, wow, that's not at all designed just for the purpose of putting it in the trailer.
True.
But that's just a nitpick. But what I was expecting is, if you ever seen the M. Night Shyamalan film where I think it was like The Village or something, and the plot twist was the village is in modern time. Part of me is expecting her little area she's in is actually in the future the whole time, due to the fact there's androids and shit. It's the only way that makes sense to me. Either that, or like you said, she could be in the future and Tomorrowland could just be the name of the place. But I'm like, I don't know. To me, that sort of goes against what Tomorrowland's meant to be. It's like Pirates of the Caribbean was about pirates and the adventure and the fun of pirates, and Pirates of the Caribbean captures that. This doesn't seem to capture what Tomorrowland's about. It just seems to be loosely based upon it. Mm-hmm. But that might just be me. That might just be a feeling or a thought I got from the trailer. That might just be, maybe that's my only complaint. It looked really fun.
We'll have to see once the movie comes out. Because like I said, this trailer shows enough, in my opinion, to get you hyped, to get you excited about it. It shows enough to kind of be like, because like he's got his like apartment or house or whatever he's in has transformable rooms and stuff, like a fucking DEF CON would, like the military would have. It's kind of awesome, and it's enough to make you say, that's actually kind of cool. I kind of want to see more, and it makes me want to find out exactly how Tomorrowland ties into this. Aside from the obvious, when they show her like flitting between reality and Tomorrowland stuff, they show little, flashes of what I'm assuming is supposed to be Tomorrowland in this movie. But it's like, okay, so you kind of give me flashes of what it kind of looks like, but I want to know how it exists, why it exists, how it operates and stuff, and what Tomorrowland is in the context of this movie.
Yep, which I could see that. Like I said, my thing was, like I said, the androids, I didn't like them unless they're from the future, Terminator style or something. Yeah. I didn't like them, and his house he had with all the, like, doing all the shutters go down and the way they did it and stuff, it seemed a little too futuristic. But if he's been to Tomorrowland, it's possible he also has technology from there. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm reserving completely writing that off, if that makes sense. Yeah. But I want to see it, but at the same time, part of it makes me feel, is this actually what Tomorrowland's about, or are you ruining the concept?
Well, I'm thinking the androids and stuff are from Tomorrowland, like because you notice they look kind of actually like people, so I'm thinking they might be from Tomorrowland because obviously they knew. They know that at least George Clooney's character exists and knows what Tomorrowland is, and I'm thinking they might be designed to infiltrate the reality, the people and stuff, to keep tabs on the people who know about Tomorrowland, to make sure that they don't reveal what Tomorrowland is and stuff like that, kind of like trying to protect their society, if you will. I got from that.
I could possibly see it that way, but they followed her. And he was like, oh shit, they're here. And he shut them all down. He didn't seem like the type of dude that was going around like telling everyone about Tomorrowland. He seemed to just want to keep on his own, so logically they wouldn't be after him. I was like, well, why are they after him? It seems like maybe they're from our time or something, because they followed her there, but he seemed really like, oh shit, like he's been hiding from them.
Well, it could be he's just afraid of them, and would be playing to why he's kept his trap shut and hasn't said anything, doesn't want to say anything. It's because he's afraid of the retribution from them. And from what I got from the trailer is they followed her because she found that device somewhere, that device that she has that allows her to shift between the realities or whatever. And because of that, they're trying to get that back, and they want her maybe to erase her memory or something, so that she doesn't remember anything about Tomorrowland. And of course, him being from Tomorrowland, or maybe he helped build it or whatever, and he obviously knows about those robots or those androids or whatever, makes me think they might be from Tomorrowland, which is why he knows what they are, and he's like, oh shit.
Yeah, it's like that would also make sense. And if they did it that way, and like his house and stuff was using tech he got from Tomorrowland and all that, fair enough. I wouldn't mind that, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
I was just worried it was going to be like M. Night
Yeah.
Shyamalan. Oh, plot twist. Right. She's actually in the future, and Tomorrowland's just a location there because she's actually like kept in a fictional Matrix-like world. It's like, what?
Yeah, I hope they don't do that. No, but that's not what I got from it. But Jim, what did you get from the trailer?
Well, it seems to me the concept is that obviously George Clooney is either from Tomorrowland or at least knows about it. And whoever these robots work for, obviously, they want to get to Tomorrowland, whether to steal the tech or do something, or whatever it is, they want to get to Tomorrowland. And he knows they want that, and he's been hiding in an attempt to protect Tomorrowland from whoever these robots work for. And now they found him again, and now he and the girl have to get away, otherwise these robots will destroy Tomorrowland.
There's that possibility, too, that they are an evil force wanting access to Tomorrowland, and she has the access. I hadn't thought about that.
Yep. Once you're in Tomorrowland, is it Tomorrowland or is it Todayland?
Well, actually, there's an extra funny in-joke regarding that. If you watch the Disney movie Meet the Robinsons, which primarily takes place in the year 2037, in the background you actually see a theme park called Todayland, which has attractions that look suspiciously like Space Mountain and other Tomorrowland attractions.
Funny.
Indeed. Good stuff.
But yeah, I want to see this movie. This movie looks really good. And like I said, I think the trailer does what a trailer is supposed to do.
I didn't realize I was muted for a second then, probably because I was sneezing. But I was saying to Jim, aren't they on Space Mountain 2 or something now, or 3 or something?
Yeah, they update Tomorrowland every so often. The one in California has been updated 3 times. The one in Florida 2 so far. And every so often, but every so often they update it with new rides and things like some of the newer rides there now are like Stitch's Great Escape, Buzz Lightyear Space Ranger Spin, the Monsters Incorporated Laugh Floor, things like that. But also classics like the Astro Orbiter, Space Mountain, and of course awesome classics things like Captain EO and your favorite Space Tours or Star Tours rather.
Yeah, but Star Tours hasn't really been updated much. It will be soon when they take over. But yeah, it was a case of no. I was just generally asking about that because I remember having a load of VHS tapes. Yeah, that's right, VHS tapes, people. That's how old school we're going. Of Disney stuff, and they used to advertise the Disney park before it, and at a certain point, they were all like, Space Mountain, and it shows me go to space. But then when I got a couple of Disney DVDs that had Space Mountain on it, it was Space Mountain 2, the sequel, or whatever the hell they were advertising. I'm like, wait, what?
Okay.
And then, I swear I saw Space Mountain 3, like, each time they update it, they renumber it and change the mission objectives and stuff, so it could tie together. I'm not sure. Long story.
Okay. Yeah. And actually, Star Tours was updated back in 2011, so the event now takes place between Revenge of the Sith and A New Hope.
Yep, but it still uses the more primitive technology.
Does it? Okay, fair enough.
Yep.
But Mo, when did you say you were going to Disneyland Paris?
If I'm going, which I'm hoping I am, it should be around August next year. Since Summer at Disney ends in August, I can sneak that in midway through August.
Oh damn! I was gonna say Star Tours opens at Disneyland Paris in 2017.
It's already there.
Oh well, this says the ride will open in Disneyland Paris in 2017. So I think they're gonna make it the new one that came out in 2011 apparently.
That's fine. I'm okay going on the Star. I like that. I'm not complaining that the technology hadn't been updated. I'm okay going to see the old, like, I don't know, original trilogy style one with older technology. That'll feel cooler. For me, at least. It's like when I went to Universal Studios, loved Back to the Future, the ride. It was really primitive technology, but when I found out they did a Simpsons one, even though they included Doc in the Simpsons ride, I'm like, it's a similar thing with better technology, but come on, the Back to the Future one, it's so old schoolish that it's enjoyable, if that makes sense. Like, I love the Star Tours because it's so old, like the original trilogy.
Right. That makes sense.
I might be weird like that.
No, but, there's the nostalgia factor too, and just the connection, the emotional connection you would have to something like that, because it's what you grew up with, it's what you know, and so it would be special to you.
Yeah,
you
I'm also dreading if they do a new one in 2017, it might update it for the new films.
Well, they're saying it's going to be updated as Star Tours: The Adventures Continue, which is the version that was created in 2011. So I think it's just going to be that, the way they're explaining it here.
Which is a stupid way of doing that.
Yeah, well.
That might just be me, but that might. I know we're going a little off topic here, but it's about Tomorrowland. It's still with it, and technically, isn't Star Tours in MGM studio, and it's not Tomorrowland. At least in Florida it is, but anyway.
Not in Florida. In California, it's in Tomorrowland. In Florida, because they have the separate thing, it's over there. Yes.
Yeah, but which is fair enough. But I was going to say, that's a stupid name of The Adventure Continues, because it's set before the original one. It's a prequel. You can't do a prequel that continues.
Actually, it's adventure. it's Adventures Continue, not Adventure Continues.
Either way, that doesn't change the point. That's just an extra S at the end of Adventure. But the point I was making, I don't know if you agree, Marcus, it can't be called Adventures Continue, then set it as a prequel to the other one.
Yeah, I think what they were going for, and I can see where you're coming from, and I understand and agree with that. But I think what they're going for is it's saying that the Star Tours continues, not necessarily that the story of Star Wars continues, but that the adventures you go through on Star Tours continues into a new ride, into something different.
I understand what they were going for. It's just,
it's weird.
It's a prequel. It's something that continues. It should be something like The Journey Begins Again or something like that.
Yeah, I can agree with that. But yeah, well, as I was saying though, I think this trailer does what trailers should do, and unfortunately what a lot of trailers don't do these days, and that is give you just enough to whet the appetite, just enough to kind of show you, what the movie's about without saying this is what the movie is, and leaving surprises for when you go see the movie. Now, I fully expect there to be at least probably one more trailer before it comes out, and I expect that will
some spoilers.
Yeah. And that's going to make me sad, because this trailer, honestly, is probably the perfect movie trailer for this movie, just because it gives you just enough without going overboard, without basically saying, okay, now why am I going to go see this movie since I've just saw it pared down to 2 minutes?
See, I'm of the opinion I want to see another trailer just to see if they explain the robots, because otherwise, that is enough of an issue for me. While it still looks fun, I'd wait for Blu-ray rather than possibly cinema or day one purchase or anything like that, because I'm like, well, that bugs me. I won't be able to sit there for the whole film if it bugs me. I need to know.
But, yeah, and that things like that I think make it hard, because depending on what the explanation of the robots is, that could fall into the realm of, well, I have to give you the entire movie in order to explain that, because it could be tied directly into why Tomorrowland exists and who George Clooney's character is. You'd have to understand all that, basically the plot of the movie, to understand what the robots are and why they're there. And if they try to do that in a trailer, all of a sudden they're just giving you away the entire movie in 2 minutes.
Or possibly. I'm not expecting to give away the whole film. It's like the trailer for Avengers clearly set up and told us who Loki was, and one of them explained, well, even though we already knew who he was, but explained that Loki was going to be the bad guy. He was working with those aliens, and essentially speaking, why they were forging a connection and stuff like that. So you knew going into it he was going to be the big villain and the aliens and stuff, but you didn't know all the details, so that was still a pretty good film.
True.
But the part I hate with trailers is when they give away plot twists. Which, if the robots are meant to be a plot twist, that'll be an issue. But
yeah, I also hate when the trailers give away the ending of the movie. It's like, why? Why did you just put the ending of your movie in the trailer?
Yeah.
Like, no, that's stupid. Don't do that. Yeah, those are the trailers that annoy me the most. When I watch it, I'm like, okay, that looks kind of cool, and then I go see the movie, I'm like, wait, that was in the trailer. They put the ending in the trailer. What the fuck? Or
my main problem with them is if it gives away a spoiler, like a massive spoiler, or if it shows the ending. Yeah. My thing at that is being like, okay, it's at the point of the movie where it pretends to be the ending, but I'm sat there thinking, I know there's more because I've seen the trailer. I know there's more. What about this? Or what about that? And I'm just waiting. It's like, oh yeah, okay, so it wasn't the end. I knew it. And it's like that instantly takes me out.
Yeah, exactly. The other thing that really annoys me with the trailers, and yes, I'm looking at you X-Men movies, specifically the third one, where they'll show you something in the trailer to get you excited about the movie, but that's all you see of that particular thing that excited you. Like, it's not in the movie at all. And of course, I'm talking about the Sentinel in X3: The Last Stand, because they basically show you the danger room sequence that's at the beginning of the movie where they're fighting the Sentinel, and that's all you ever see the Sentinel in the entire movie. I'm like, screw you, movie. You set up my expectation of there's going to be Sentinels in this movie, and that's all I get of the Sentinels? No, screw off.
See, that doesn't disappoint me as much, if that makes sense, or annoy me anywhere near as much. Like you said, like the Sentinels. Okay, I was a little disappointed we weren't going to get the Sentinels, but then the second I see the Sentinels and boom, it cuts in its danger room, I'm like, okay, I don't know where this movie's going. It's the opposite of spoiling it for me. It suddenly makes me more interested because I don't know what's going on. And sometimes it's like, yeah, that was really cool. They should have shown that off.
Yeah, but I don't know. It's just if you're gonna show something that you know the people are gonna like, that you know people want in there for a while, or that you know is gonna draw people to the theater, don't have that be the only point in time in the movie that's going to be, because that's basically like a cockies, and basically you might as well just take that out and just put in a giant troll face at that point. That's how I feel. It's like, no. If you're going to tease the Sentinel, give us a fucking Sentinel, especially since the Sentinel they teased and the Sentinel they showed in the movie looks like your classic Sentinel. That's literally the only time in the entire fucking franchise you see a classic Sentinel. That pissed me off.
To be fair, that's work. As much as I hate that strategy, I do hate the strategy of the cock tease. That's pretty much the only reason Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. are still around.
True.
Is literally, and I know even people who worked on the show have said that as well, of basically, it didn't really have much story, but we know people would watch it because we kept telling them something's going to happen, and it's going to change the Marvel Cinematic Universe. It's like you have to watch to get there, and then when you finally do, it was a complete disappointment. And I'm like, you can't build a whole TV show around something will happen, because it's a TV show. Something fucking should happen.
Yeah.
We should already expect something to happen. You shouldn't have to keep telling us, no, keep watching, something will happen, something will happen. It's like, no, this is a bad way of doing TV. There's a reason Arrow and Flash are kicking its ass.
Yeah. And you're absolutely right. It does apply to the trailers too, and that's why specifically the X-Men trailer, but I know other movies have done that cock tease thing, but that's why specifically that pissed me off, because I'm like, they teased the Sentinel. It looked like your classic Sentinel. I'm like, oh, they're going to fight Sentinels, and all you get is that head. And it's like, they do nothing with the Sentinels, and then when you finally get Sentinels in the movie universe, what do? They make shit up for the movie. I'm like, no, I want to see a fucking Sentinel. Give me a Sentinel, you cock-teasing motherfuckers.
It's like the one I hate, which I don't know if you'd agree, Jim, because you've been quiet on this at the moment, but whether or not you'd agree with this, the one I hate with something similar to that, Marcus, is they have a cool scene, and it's like a really cool scene, and they show it in the trailer, and you watch the film, and it's not there. That ends up being the deleted scene. I'm like, no, don't put your film trailers out so far in advance. You have no idea what the hell your final cut's gonna look like at all. So you're like, what cool scene's gonna be removed? Like, there's a reason it was cool enough you put it in the trailer. It's because it's fucking awesome.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, look, look, the Power Rangers Turbo movie's coming out. Oh, look, there's Cat with a flamethrower.
I understand
to the point that you put it on the fucking box.
Yeah, no, I understand.
There's no excuse for that.
Now, I understand it in some regards, like the spy, like obviously, and this is not me being distasteful when I say this. I understood like why they had that Spider-Man one with the webbing between the Twin Towers. I understand why that wasn't in the film. I understand why they would change that. I understand why like all the concept art posters and stuff to do with that scene. I understand removing it. That makes perfect sense. No one would expect that scene to still be in there when they go to watch the film, because obviously what happened was a tragedy and stuff, and they're not going to put that in there for the purpose of a little film. That will make their film get critically slammed. That I can understand, but doing it just and then going, it's a deleted scene, why? Time. It's like, that was a fucking cool scene. You put it in the trailer to make us want to see this.
Yeah, but in their defense, and there's some movies where yeah, you shouldn't have done that. But in the defense of most filmmakers and stuff, that to a degree isn't their fault, because it's the studios that tell them we need enough footage. We need you to produce trailers at this point in time so we can release these trailers. So they have to go with the footage they have. They have to go with the cut of the movie they have. And it's been well documented that the editing process of the movie is one of the last things that happens with the movie. So the cut of the movie they have might be a full-on, like with Lord of the Rings, might be like a full-on 4 or 5 hour cut in the movie because they haven't pared it down yet, because they haven't had a chance to, go edit the 50 billion hours of footage that they have. But they have finished shots and they have things they're planning on using, but they don't know if they're going to do it yet because they have yet to actually go edit it. So they're like, well, put this in the trailer, put that in the trailer because these are finished shots and yada yada yada. Because there's like 1 or 2 shots in, I can't remember which of the 3 Lord of the Rings movies, but in one of them there's a shot that never made it into the final cut because that trailer came out so far, well, not so far, but it came out in advance enough, because I'm assuming that New Line said, thou shalt have a trailer at this time, that shot never made it into the movie because they decided not to go that route with the movie because and I don't know, Lord of the Rings might be a more unique case, but I know in terms of Lord of the Rings, the edit changed dramatically because they tried like hell to cut the time down because they realized it was too long. Neil was telling you it was too long, and for a theatrical release, it shouldn't be more than 3.5 hours. So they had to cut it down, and they couldn't cut it down. They couldn't. It was the first movie that I'm talking about here. They couldn't cut it down until they realized if we change the focus of the movie, of what we're focusing on, all of a sudden it becomes easy to cut it down because anything that doesn't flow with that focus gets cut out. But that didn't come until later in the editing process, way past when the trailers came out. So what I'm saying is they have to go with what they have.
Yeah, like I say, I understand how that's done and all that, Marcus. It's just a case of it's just really annoying a lot of times. And it's like there needs to be better communication or whatever between them and stuff. It's like it's the same thing with some video games. Like, who here has played Spider-Man 2 on PS2?
The first Spider-Man 2?
Yeah.
I have.
Okay.
I didn't have that game.
Okay, let me ask you a question. How much did you enjoy the lizard level through the sewers?
Ha! That was a pretty cool.
The lizard level through the sewers were not in Spider-Man 2. That was Spider-Man 3. The trailer for Spider-Man 2 shows the lizard emerge from the sewers, grab Spider-Man and take him in there. That's on my Spider-Man MTV series DVD of Season 1. That's on there as well as an extra feature. That entire thing's not in the game. They decided to cut it at the last minute. Like, now we're going to go a different route. What the hell?
No, but they were nice enough to, with those informational tokens around the city, they were nice enough to insert one of Bruce Campbell telling you that no, the lizard is not in this game.
Yeah, I know, but it's like the trailer showed it and then they removed it. That may be one of the more dramatic cases, but that was fucking huge. I really wanted to see that.
Mm-hmm. It was. Like I said, oh, go ahead, Jim.
Actually, when you were talking about Lizard Sewer Battle, I was thinking of Spider-Man 2 on the PS1. Because that's where your webs that make through the sewers, and we gotta go 3 over and 4 this way, and or is that it? Or was that in Spider-Man 3? I can't remember.
Yeah. Well, like I was saying, I completely understand, Mole, and I agree with you. It's maddening and it's annoying, and it's like, it does piss me off sometimes. And it's like, why was that taken out, or why was that even in the trailer if it's not in the movie? But at the same time, I also understand that to a degree, that's kind of beyond the filmmaker's control, because again, or the game maker's control, even the developer's control, because they have to go with what they have at the time that is demanded of them to release this trailer.
Yeah, but I would say
decisions constantly being made. So
yeah, but I would also say there's a reason that the class action lawsuit against Gearbox and Sega with the Colonel Marines showing like a load of footage in the trailer that wasn't in the game.
Well, yeah.
Because a lot of times with those trailers and stuff like that, before now, like you'll see like a cool scene immediately. I don't know. Let's just pretend, for example, it's Transformers, and you suddenly see Megatron go vroom and turn into a gun, G1 style, and suddenly Starscream picks him up and shoots someone, and that entire thing's not in there because they decided at the last minute to, okay, let's just make him a tank. That's false advertising. The trailer's there to sell us a product. It promises this thing's in the product. and then it's not in the product. That's false advertising. I understand why it happens. I know all about the process and stuff. I'm just saying it shouldn't. It's false advertising.
Yeah, and unfortunately, there's really no way to fix that. I mean, if it's just one scene or one thing, then yeah, that annoys me, but that's okay. But if it's, from what I understand, with what they did with Aliens Colonial Marines, where they showed a trailer and none of it was in there, like the game was completely different to what they advertised, yeah, that's bullshit. That should never happen, because that's like you're changing the entire game, and at that point, you should not be changing the entire game or the entire movie.
Yeah, I understand that, but I was about there should be some sort of verbal communication between them, on an agreement of, okay, if this is going to be in the trailer, this has to appear in the game, because we're telling the consumer, or it's the same thing with movies, we're telling the consumer that this is the product that we're selling them.
Yeah, but see, that gets really sticky, because then that gets into bitch fit territory, because you'll have the producers sitting here saying, we're telling the consumers this is what's going to be in the game, so it's got to be in the game, but then you'll have the developers turn around and say, okay, but then that means you can't hold us to a release date, because if you want this in the game, or if they find out later, okay, they want this in the game, we want this in the game, that's going to take us a lot longer to do this, and it's going to take us a lot more resources, they're going to go back and say, give us more time and more money, or we can't deliver this because it's too hard. If you want us, and that's a reason why a lot of things get taken out of the games. It's because they realize that they don't have the resources or the time to do it properly, to be able to put it in the game. And then when they do, then you get the games. And I know we're going on a video game tangent here, but then you get the games, and you get that aren't complete, basically. Games that have glitches and bugs, and the complaints that we all have, and that we've all stated multiple times on various video game podcasts and shows here, of give us a working game. Well, you can't have it both ways, unfortunately. If you want to hold the developers, or in the case of filmmakers, but this is more a video game thing, if you want to hold the developers to what they have in the earliest trailer, then you're going to have to, and they can't go beyond the dates and the budget set forth by the publishers, then unfortunately you're going to have a game that's flawed and doesn't work right.
Yeah,
you can't have it both ways.
Yeah,
unfortunately.
Like I said, I'm aware of that, but since this Around the Pound month is about movies and we're discussing the Tomorrowland trailer and stuff, I would make the case, let's say there's a 10-second clip or a 30-second clip in the movie that was cut. Are you telling me there's not another 30 seconds in that entire film that could have been cut to save on time, to insert the scene they promised us?
No, but oftentimes, from what I've seen, the reason that's taken out is not only for time, but because of for time and because of the direction that the story is going, they had to take out a scene or scenes prior to it that would set it up, that would make it make sense. If they just left that scene in there because it was cool, half the time it wouldn't make sense in the context of the story, because they had to remove everything else that made it make sense. It would be weird, which I understand that. I'm like, okay, fair enough, because they have to tweak the story. It doesn't fit. It's not because, we don't have time to put this in. No, we have the time to put it in. We just don't have the time to put it in and make it make sense, because it's not like they can go back and reshoot it. At that point, they're done shooting everything. They have to take what they've shot and make it work. And if they've shot it a specific way to tell a specific story and they can no longer run with that story, then it has to be come out of the movie. Unfortunately, it's almost a black and white type thing, as sad as that is and as shitty as that is. It's almost black and white in terms of, if it works, we'll put it in the movie. If it doesn't work, it has to be cut. And then we'll put in the deleted scenes. And oftentimes you look at it, you're like, but that would have worked. And the sad thing is, it's a subjective thing, because it comes down to the opinion of the editor, of the person editing the movie, whether they feel it works or not. Yep. And sometimes they're wrong. Sometimes, they feel one way, but then the audience would be like, well, it does work. And especially as the case is when Hollywood now, the trend we're seeing of movie makers and stuff are making movies based on existing IPs, and they know fuck all about the existing IP. And so to them, it's, this won't work or that won't work without this or that. But then you put it in front of someone like, say, you or I, who might be into whatever that IP is, like, say, Dragon Ball, for instance, and we look at it and we're like, you could put that in, that would work just fine. But they don't know the source material well enough to know whether or not that would work, so they have to look at it from a different way, and so they cut it.
Yeah, like I said, I'm aware of some stuff like that as well. It's not always just due to time, but it's like there's loads of trailers that have done that. Like I know, like Incredible Hulk, for example. Who remembers the Incredible Hulk that we watched, the film tying into Avengers and stuff?
Right.
One of the trailers for that at one point showed him in the Arctic. One of the deleted scenes shows him in the Arctic. And it actually shows Captain America frozen in there the whole time. It's like that ties your entire franchise much better than some of the other stuff you did. Yeah. No, and I understand, like I said, it's why sometimes it gets cut and stuff. But it's like we've mentioned with games and stuff. Well, don't show us a trailer until you have something to produce. I understand why they do it, but just don't until you know more about what's going on. Just don't.
And unfortunately, that's just the nature of business and of the industries, because, like I said, the people making the decision of when the trailers need to be out and stuff have little to no connection to the people actually making the product, nor do they care. All they care about is thou shalt have it at this time because we are God and we say so, whether we're right or not. And unfortunately, that's a huge reason why certain movies come out the way they do, why certain games come out the way they do, and why there's almost a disconnect between what it is you're trying to make and who's making it.
Yeah, there is, but like I said, my point was just a lot of times that just annoys me. Like,
it does.
Like X-Men Origins, for example, Wolverine.
Yeah.
One of the trailers for that showed young Storm. Mm-hmm. It showed little Storm as a kid. She wasn't in the film. Come on, it's Storm.
That's why, sad as it is to say, and it's kind of ironic given what we're talking about, that the trailer that is the one that's going to ruin the movie for you the most is the one that's going to be most accurate to the movie, and that's the final trailer. The last trailer before the movie comes out is the one that's going to be closest to what the finished product is going to be.
Yeah, but
the first trailer is going to be the furthest. In fact, I would even say, even if it's a teaser, the first thing you see from any movie, don't expect it to be in the movie because it's going to be so early it probably won't make it in the movie.
Yeah, that's part of my point. It's like if you play a demo, and I know Jim's probably played demos before and stuff as well on PS3, or for whatever you play demos on. A lot of times when you start up a demo, it says, "Note: this product may not reflect the final version." Couldn't they just include that in the actual trailers early on, just so we know? This trailer may not reflect the final version. It's just one line just to cover their ass. Instead, like I said, it feels more like they're cheating me personally or whoever's interested. It feels like they're cheating them out of their actual money by lying to them and failing to deliver on a product.
This is true, and it's because bottom line, they want to make money, and if they try to cover their asses, as you put it, that goes against we need to make money, because they know if they do that, they're not going to make money, or as much.
They will make a lot. Like I said, loads of demos and game trailers and stuff nowadays do put this may not reflect the final version. Movie trailers don't, and the games still make shit ton of money. The reason why is, as a consumer, say you watch a trailer and you say this may not reflect the final cut or the final scene or whatever. Okay, fair enough. You know some scenes may be gone, but you also think in your head as well, like, ooh, that scene looked awesome. If this is not the final product, that scene might look better. We're not telling you it will, but that will actually hype you up a little bit more and be a little bit more honest.
True.
But yeah, the Tomorrowland trailer, because I realized we got way off topic.
Oh, that's fine. Like I really wasn't expecting the Tomorrowland trailer discussion to be that long anyway. Like I'm still trying to figure out what the hell we're going to talk about for the next month here, but
well, I assume it's going to be dinosaurs, space, superheroes?
Probably. Yeah, and that's kind of what I'm expecting, kind of like how this one spiraled off into discussions about Disney and the trailers itself, which I'm glad we're having an actual just discussion about movie trailers and trailers in general. That's what I'm expecting for the following ones. It's like the Star Wars one, we're going to start talking about Star Wars and evil Disney and all that crap, with Jurassic Park. We're probably going to talk about Jurassic Park and about dinosaurs and whatnot. So
I will say, when we get to the Star Wars stuff, I will keep my discussion about just the trailer itself.
Fair enough.
Good. Because I've gone into that territory so many times that I don't really think it's needed for a discussion about a trailer, because it's stuff that's not related to a trailer as a trailer. But I wasn't sure, and yeah, Disney is evil, but it's a case of I don't know how Jim felt about any of the stuff we said. He was quiet for most of that.
Yeah, speak, Jim.
I really got nothing. I gotta be honest with you.
Do you agree or disagree with what we've said?
To be honest, you guys went on so long, I kind of lost track of what you were actually trying to say.
Fair enough, you tuned us out, fair enough. But, yeah, like we said, the Tomorrowland trailer looks pretty fun.
It does look good.
Yeah.
And like I said, for my money, it does what a trailer should do.
Yeah, and to comment on at least part of what you said, I do agree that you have to be careful to make sure that your trailer doesn't spoil your movie, but at the same time, you also have to make sure there's enough in there that people are going to want to come see the movie. And I do feel like if you're going to put out a trailer, there should be you can't put out a trailer before this point in time if this is your release date. And there should be some kind of requirement that if these scenes are in the trailer, then these scenes must remain in the movie. You make it work, or something like that.
Yeah, see, again, I don't know, especially if it's one of the earliest trailers, I don't know that would be a good practice.
Which goes back to my point of you can't release a trailer before this point in time if your movie's coming out on this date.
Yeah, but that's not, as I said, that's usually not up to the movie makers, that's up to the studio who knows fuck all about movie making.
And really, what is the studio going to do? After spending millions of dollars producing this thing, is the movie studio just going to shut production down because they won't put out a trailer? What is the movie studio really going to do?
Yeah, they will pull the money. That's why the studio is the one that sets all the release dates. The studio is the one that says you're going to have a trailer at this time or that time. Because if you think about it, and they could turn around and I don't know, sue the movie makers or whatever. Because if you think about it, it's more than just the studios that have the vested interest in it. It's the studio's ass on the line. So they will do whatever they have to do to make sure that the movie makers have these trailers. Because if you think about it, when the studio releases these trailers, they're also promising other investors and other people, other maybe companies or what have you that have an interest in this, that there's going to be a movie trailer at this time. If the studio doesn't deliver on that, they could stand to lose a lot more than they would lose if they shut down production of the company, or on the production of the movie, which is why they do that. And it's the studios who are saying, this is when you're going to have a trailer, this is when you're going to have a trailer. Now, I'm not saying the movie makers don't have any input into it. I don't know how much, if any, they have, but I get the feeling it's more a business decision on the side of the studio than it is on the side of the movie makers, just because of exactly what Mole and I talked about, of how much stuff is in the early trailers that don't end up in the actual movies, because the editing process, it takes a long time, and oftentimes what gets cut and what doesn't is often one of the later decisions as they're trying to pare down how are we even going to do this.
Which is fair enough, but I think it goes back to two things. Number one, if that's the case, at least, when you put out your next trailer, at least make a note that, hey, by the way, this showed up in the last trailer that's not in the movie, so people aren't expecting it to be in the damn movie. Number two, the other thing it comes back to is I understand that's the case, but I think in a lot of studios, it's not as one-sided as one might think. I think it depends on exactly who the filmmakers are and who the production studio is. Because I get the distinct feeling that regardless of what Kevin Feige wants, if Joss Whedon said, I'm not giving you an Avengers trailer, nobody is going to tell him to fuck off.
Well, to be fair, the reason he's quit the Marvel movies is because he had a terrible time at Disney with some of the decisions they made against him. So, yeah, they probably would have told him to fuck off.
Yeah. Because you have to realize the movie makers, regardless of if you think a movie maker is good or bad, you have to realize they want to make the best movie they possibly can. They may not necessarily know the source material that they're making it based off of, but they want to make the best they can. And they, and like the directors of stuff and the editors, they know far more and far better than a studio how that works. You would think, as long as these studios have been around, that there'd be some people in the higher ups there that would actually know something, but time and again, they very obviously don't. But the directors and the editors would be like, look, we could give you a trailer, but we can't guarantee you this is what's going to be in the final product. This is what's in our script. Because the first cut of any movie is basically the straight script or changes they've made to the script as they've gone on. But then they have to edit it down.
That's why, like I said, the first couple of trailers before they know what's in the film, It should have the flash thing at the beginning with, warning, this does not reflect the final product.
Yes.
I could agree with that.
Yeah, or this may not reflect the final product. There might be stuff here that's...
Or the final product is still going to change.
Yeah.
But I also have a feeling that the studios wouldn't allow them to do that, probably. But yes, I agree that would help the consumer a lot and would help their image.
Well,
but
to be
technically, the studios are the ones that release the trailer. It's the studios we're asking to put that in.
Fair enough. That's true.
And technically speaking, in all fairness, all it would take to get studios to tie around, because you made the valid point earlier, and it's simply the fact of the matter is it is what it is. All it would take for the studios to turn around is one person who isn't necessarily, one person with enough resources to file a false advertisement lawsuit, and there'll be a legal requirement that whole thing change.
Yep.
Now, I'm not saying that would succeed, because obviously the studios would just hand them a few $1 million and pay them off. So I don't know if anybody would actually carry that to trial. But at the same time,
that could also be beneficial, because if you hear a news story about, this trailer lied to people, and as a result it was only one scene or two scenes, but it lied to people, and they got, I don't know, $1 million between the whole group by Disney for advertising, like we're discussing at Tomorrowland, if any of that was different. What's going to happen with the way America, in general, I don't mean as an insult, but America more so, and the way a lot of the world works, a load of people will keep trying that over and over and over again, and eventually the studios will get sick of it, and they would make the change.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
So either way, it would benefit us. Just one would be longer.
Exactly.
Yeah, so. I think it would be both a benefit to consumers, but also piss them off for a time being, because I think a big reason why the studios ask for trailers so early is because of the consumer demand for information. But I think one thing that they should do that would help immensely, that would maybe even make it so that they don't even have to put that disclaimer on. Stop giving us trailers so fucking early.
That's what I said to you, and you said that we have to, and I was like, okay. But I don't like trailers being too early, especially like I mentioned with video games, and they'll be cancelled or delayed to like the next fucking year or so. It's like, I don't want to see a trailer until something's almost ready, but at the same time, if they have to do a trailer, like I said, the end message or whatever, it's not going to piss consumers off. And if they stop giving us trailers early, I don't think that'll piss off consumers, because it's like, oh no, I had to wait an extra 6 months to see a trailer for the film. They're not going to die. They're just going to be more interested in whatever films are around at the time. Thus, every film benefits.
Pretty much.
Yeah, though I have to wonder if they wait longer to give us movie trailers and stuff, if that will then precipitate, like, Joe Public, the people, to try to get leaked stuff even more, like try to get onto sets and take pictures and stuff. Because we have that now, but it's not too terrible because people know trailers are coming. But if they're like, yes, we're not going to give you trailers until it's even closer to the release date, like you said, we have to wait another 6 months, I kind of have a fear that might, because of the age we live in, that people are going to try to leak even more stuff and try to get even more information.
See, I don't, because most of the ones who leak the information, I don't think it's a case of they're worried, there's not enough information, or it may be too long for a trailer. A lot of the times, the reason the stuff gets leaked, and the reason it will continue being leaked equally into the future, no matter what happens and stuff, maybe more so, just based on people, is every single person nowadays, and hell, we're doing it ourselves right now with this, like, we'll give our thoughts and opinions on YouTube for the sole purpose of people watching it and listening to it, which is fair enough, but you also get like Joe Nobody, who suddenly decides, I want to be the first person to take that picture of the actor playing Spider-Man on set who takes off his mask. They all want that 10 seconds of fame that an extra shot on the streets will give them. And that's why it will continue. Or, oh, I want to be the person who leaked the Dark Knight script. Or, you know what I mean? They all want that fame, and that's the reason. It's not out of some sort of noble act of, we think every consumer should know everything about the film. Woo! It's because they all want the fame of being the dude that did it.
No, but what I'm saying is, yes, you're absolutely right. They want the fame, but I also think because, especially with in the more recent years, as we've talked before throughout other different industries, with the rise in the prevalence of the internet, it's just that there is a consumer demand for information that we technically shouldn't be privy to. It's that goes back to the whole thing of, because we can't have it, we want it type thing. And because the internet allows us to have that which we do not want, there is a demand for it. And I'm just afraid that if they decide to push the trailers back so that the trailers more accurately reflect what the finished movie is going to be, that the demand of what the trailers in its current state and at the current times currently provide is still going to be there, to the point that some entity is going to have to fill that void. Some entity is going to have to fill that demand, and that's just going to drive the desire and the need to leak more shit and spoil more shit about the movie. I guess what I'm saying is, I'm afraid it might, as much good as it would do for the movie industry and the consumer public, I'm afraid it will do just as much, if not more, damage because of the stuff that it may drive up, if that makes sense.
Yeah, like I said, it's possible. They could always just counteract it with something simple as well. Like, if it's like, oh, the consumer want to know more about the film, oh, then why don't you just make the first teaser something just simple, like an interview? You know, like the introductions on DVDs. Like, oh, here comes Iron Man 4. Instead of doing a teaser for Iron Man 4, why don't we just have Robert Downey Jr. in the Iron Man costume, take off the helmet, showing us the suit and the look, and then just give like an interview about what's coming up in the film? That instantly would still make you hyped.
Yeah, he could. But again, that could still go into the false advertising, because it's like, okay, yeah, we're showing off the Iron Man suit, but who's to say the suit won't change between then and the final cut? Because I've seen that happen a lot in a lot of movies, where the first time you see the character, they're like, okay, the costume looks great, we're going to go with this. But then by like 3 months later down the road, when they're really into it, they're tweaking the story, and they know more about what they're doing and stuff. It's like, that costume doesn't work. We need to change it. And by the time you get to the final product, the costume's completely different. They've changed it, and oftentimes it looks better, but they've changed it. And that can still fall into the false advertising of, but you showed us this suit. This should have been what was in the movie.
Yeah, but I would say that's not as much false advertising as we see him in an Iron Man suit. It's like, and he's like mentioning, yeah, this is the suit where I'm currently in as I'm filming the series. He could, if they're worried about it changing, just mention it could change a little bit, or they might tweak it. What do you people at home think? Leave a hashtag, like hashtag Iron Suit, or you know what I mean? And
true,
that will make consumers suddenly think they're being listened to as well.
True, yeah, that's actually a great idea. Now, there is a lot they could do with the interwebs and stuff, as we've mentioned, to make it better. It's just whether they see that or not, and whether they're smart enough to take advantage of that.
Yep, but I did have a question for Jim, if he's paying attention again. When we on the Tomorrowland trailer, that little device she was holding, is that something from Disneyland? Because every time she held it, it looked like some of the little, as you guys would call it, pins, or the little collectible badges, or whatever you would call them, that you can get around the Disney park. I'm like, is that going to be tied to, like, is that going to be like a limited edition, one of those Disney buttons that they sell?
It wouldn't shock me.
But you couldn't tell because it was in her hand, like she was grasping it, so you can't really tell what it is.
Yeah, and it was also dark, so I couldn't really tell. But I was like, that would be a great bit of thing as well. If it's about the theme park and a lot of stuff to do with the theme park, some people who go there do like to collect the little, I don't know what you guys call them, badges, pins, buttons, whatever the fuck they are. It's a case of, if a lot of people collect them, it would make so much sense to include that into a thing about a section of a theme park, even if it's not actually based, like, set in the theme park, if that makes sense.
The one thing I am a little bit afraid of, now that I'm thinking about it, thinking of what I've seen of the trailer, is I'm a little afraid they're going to Kingdom Keepers it. I don't know how Jim feels about that, but I don't know, Jim, if you'd like it if they kind of Kingdom Keepers it, were like George Clooney's characters like the Wayne.
I'm gonna make the comment they can't Kingdom Keeper it because the around the pound about Tomorrowland's actually been successful.
Ha! This is true. But I don't know, Jim, what do you think of that theory of them going a pseudo Kingdom Keepers route with it?
That'd be interesting to see when they did that.
That wouldn't piss you off and be like, just make Kingdom Keepers instead.
Yeah, I don't know.
I wonder if
it would depend on how they did it.
I also wonder if this is going to be a series of films.
Interesting.
Like that little pin, I'm just going to call it a badge, which is what we call it. Let's say she has a badge there, and it's a collectible one, and it's something to do with the theme park, if it was what I was assuming. Could the next one be something like Animal Kingdom, and then she has another badge that takes her to another land, and it's all all based upon the theme park itself as the Animal Kingdom part of the park?
That could be cool.
It'd be interesting, actually.
Instead of just obviously the obvious Tomorrowland 2.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, Tomorrow 2, the words tomorrow and the number 2 just shouldn't belong together.
Yeah, I agree with that. You do broach an interesting idea. Well, that'd be, if the movie is successful, if the movie is good, I wouldn't mind seeing that and maybe expanding the cast a little bit. Like I said, I keep saying it, but like Kingdom Keepers, seeing it, I think that could be interesting.
Yeah. It's like, which section of the parks would you like to see them based on, Jim?
It's a good question. I think it would be cool if they did one over there in Adventureland, where you have things like Pirates of the Caribbean coming to life and all the other cool stuff over there. I think that'd be fun. I mean, obviously they've already done a Pirates attraction, but they could do something like, have Adventureland just, maybe there could be like a cameo from Jack Sparrow or something. It's like an in-joke.
That could be cool as well. And if it is Adventureland, like you said, they've done Pirates before, but I'm assuming there's more to Adventureland than just Pirates of the Caribbean.
Oh, yeah,
therefore, it would be loads of elements into one, which would be cool. Which, that's another thing. Does Tomorrowland actually have anything to do with, I think you mentioned Buzz and stuff, but does it have anything to do with actual Disney properties in that section of the theme park? And if so, will that type of stuff somehow be integrated into there? Like, let's say there's a Buzz Lightyear one. At some point during this, will she find a Buzz Lightyear on in like one of the sections where she has to use a gun or something?
It's entirely possible. Like I said, depending on which park you go to, Tomorrowland's featured a wide variety of properties, from Lilo and Stitch with the Stitch Outer Space thing, to Buzz Lightyear, to the Captain EO Michael Jackson interactive video, to Star Tours. And of course, some of the more you're more likely to see some of the more classic Tomorrowland affiliated attractions, such as the Space Mountain, of course, being the most popular.
Yeah, which is why I was thinking they may incorporate them into new ways. Like, I don't think they'll go, as Marcus mentioned, Kingdom Keepers fully with it. Like, if they're doing Tomorrowland, I don't think we'll suddenly meet Zurg and Buzz Lightyear and stuff. But I know that's not what you meant. I'm just saying I'm curious how they'll incorporate that. Like I said, like, let's say there's a Buzz Lightyear part where you go around and you're suddenly shooting everything. It'd be cool if she has to start. It was the first time she starts to use like the laser gun or something because she's younger. He's like, you don't know how to use this. Use the kids one. She's like, fine. Opens up a chest. Next to Buzz Lightyear is the gun she's going to use.
Nice.
So it's like more of a safety gun because she's new. And I'm like, that sort of just little things like that could make this film awesome.
Totally.
It could, yeah. I completely agree. Yeah, I think we've exhausted the topic here, and we've had some good discussions. I
think our topic's longer than the trailer.
Yeah, pretty much.
They're all going to be longer than the trailer unless we just come in and go, it was good, and then it's over.
Yeah, pretty much. But yes, hopefully you people out there listening have enjoyed it as much
people?
as...
I could say it because I'm a different color.
The world. But yeah, hopefully you all have enjoyed listening to our little ramblings and our discussions about things surrounding trailers and surrounding Disney and whatnot, as much as we've enjoyed discussing it, because I'll admit it was fun. This was actually a really fun discussion.
I'm going to make the comment, and I'm not doing the a joke thing. I'm gonna make the comment: should this be renamed?
What? Why? What is it named?
Well, I'm assuming it'll be around pound King of the Tomorrowland trailer discussion or something like that. I was thinking, shouldn't it be something? Couldn't we rename it like a trailer month for I don't know, just something like instead of just Tomorrowland to also mention the fact most of this discussion was about trailers, not the particular trailer. So we ourselves are not falsely advertising it in a podcast in which we discuss how much we hate false advertisements.
True. Jim, you have your job after we go off the air.
Ah.
Oh, you laugh, but it is your job because you are logged onto the X-Pound, so you must go change your title. But anyway, but yes, I did thoroughly enjoy it. Thank you to James Phoenix.
You're welcome.
And Chriz the Mole.
And thank you
for joining me. I've been your host, Marcus Shadow. Join us next week when we take a look at what is next week. I forgot the order that I had it in.
You don't know how your own show operates. You fail.
Around the Pound's not my show. I just have to be hosting it this month.
I know, but it's for your month, and if you must know, the next one's going to be Star Wars: The Force Awakens.
No.
You switched it to Star Wars.
It's Jurassic World.
No, you switched. You had a Jurassic World, and you switched it to Star Wars.
No, I have Jurassic World and then Star Wars. That's what I have on my schedule.
No,
Sunday, May 10th, Jurassic World.
No, Sunday, May 10th is Star Wars, and then Saturday the 16th, because that's pay-per-view week, is the Fantastic Four trailer.
No, it's definitely going to be... Oh, what the hell is it? It's definitely going to be Star Wars due to the idea of how we live, of how the trailers progressively change. This is a family Disney film. Next one's another family Disney film with space elements. Then it's the Jurassic World one, which is a slightly darker family film, which will then take us into the superhero territory. Oh, actually, no, it was Jurassic World, because Star Wars has these superhero elements as well.
Because I changed it after Mole made that suggestion, and after I added Tomorrowland, it's like, okay, I like your idea, and so I went and changed it, and maybe you didn't change yours, Jim.
Okay, so the 10th is Jurassic World, and then what's...
Yeah, and then Star Wars. But I'll go over that with you afterwards. But yes, next week, Sunday, May 10th, for Around the Pound, we're going to take a look at Jurassic World. Probably talk a little bit more about trailers, and then probably talk about dinosaurs. So, yes, be here for that. That should be fun. I've been your host, Marcus Shadow. This has been Around the Pound. See you next week.